Hi, I've done lots of little short single tip videos, but I just thought to help you out, especially if you're a new cruiser, to put a few tips together in one compilation so that you don't have to go looking for it. So this video is going to be 5 tips to help you prepare for your cruise. Hi, I'm Jan Obridge, I'm the Cruise Queen. One of the first things that I found really useful when I was cruising is to think about laundry. Now, you can get laundry packages on board, especially if you're sailing with MSC. You get a 20 item for €20 package, and you can send that at any time. You have to send it all together. You can't send like 5 one day, 5 the next. It's got to be 20 items together. So whenever you're ready, they call it back home package or something like that, but that doesn't matter, you can do it anytime. I was just thinking this time what I might do is when I arrive on my cruise is to send a bunch of stuff to the laundry, not necessarily to get washed but to get pressed so that it's all done for me, but I'll consider that when I get closer. So using the laundry package is good value if you don't want the hassle of having to wash everything when you get home. Of course, you can do your smalls yourself. You can wash them in the wash basin and the sink, hang them up in your shower. There's usually a line in the shower, you can hang them up there, and so that's what I do. So especially if I've got quite a long cruise, I might only take half a dozen sets and wash those every couple of days so they dry and I have them ready to wear again, rather than pay to send them to the laundry. So doing that is useful, but I also have a mesh laundry bag which I hang up on one of my magnetic hooks, and I've got video on that, and I just put things that I'm going to either send to the laundry or launder myself into those bags. Now, the things that I'm not going to launder or send to the laundry, I put under the bed in my suitcase to keep them out of the way until we're going home, once I've worn them and I'm not going to wear them again. So tip number 1, laundry bags, laundry package, so doing laundry. Tip number 2, getting extra storage space in your cabin. I already mentioned it. Magnetic hooks and magnetic clips, bulldog clips. Remember, all the walls in your cabin are metal, so you can utilize that. And I would use metal hooks to hang my swimming costume on while I'm not using it. My wraps, I'll hang those up. I hang my lanyards on the metal hooks, and my husband will hang his shirt that he's going to wear again on the metal hooks. So things like that. Robes, we'll hang them all around the cabin wherever we want them so that we're freeing up space in the wardrobe. And so that helps us to free up space in the cabin, but also don't forget to look for space, because there are sometimes hidden drawers and hidden cupboards and behind mirrors and beside dressers and things like that. So there's quite a lot of extra storage space that you might not necessarily realise is there. And of course, you've got your suitcases which are under the bed, hopefully, because that's where else would you put them? Put them under the bed, keep them out the way, and you can store stuff in there too if you need to. Another thing about storage is you can hang a mesh wall hanger, door hanger over your door and store shoes and bags in there. Did a video on that recently, but I just thought of that right now. So that's finding extra storage space in your cabin, because let's face it, your cabin's quite small. So that's tip number 2, find extra storage space in your cabin. Tip number 3, saving weight. Now, if you're going from a UK port, you don't have to worry about saving weight because you're not really restricted. But if you're flying, then you've got to think about only using 20 or 23 kilos in a suitcase, and you're quite limited. So you've got to think about how you can save weight when you're traveling, and us ladies are not used to that. So there's a couple of weight saving tips that I've come up with. First of all, one of the weight saving tips is to consider what you're going to pack, so that you only pack things that you need. And for example, I've got a dress which is very heavy, it's full of sequins. I don't take that if I'm not sailing out of UK, because it weighs so much. It carries down my suitcases, weighs down my suitcases. I also look at saving weight on my jewellery. I get snap it jewellery, which has lots of different colours and stones that you can change. I have some big ones, some small ones, and if you're interested in that, I've got some Facebook Lives. They're quite old, but they're on my channel, and you can have a look at those and see me doing Facebook Lives from on board ship where I'm wearing snap it jewellery. So snap it jewellery means that you can take the fittings and then all the little stones that go with it and save yourself a lot of space. I used to just take buckets full of jewellery with me, but I've learned now to just be selective about what I do take, so that I have enough for choice but not too much. So saving weight. Also, don't take big bottles of toiletries, big bottles of shampoo. You don't need shampoo anyway because you've got shampoo, but big bottles of conditioner. Take small ones because they weigh a lot less and take up less space, of course. So thinking about what things weigh heavy. And only you know that. You have to decide whether you really want something that's going to weigh a lot or not. But there are lots of ideas to actually save weight when you're travelling. So that's tip number 3, save weight. Tip number 4, save space. Now, if you're okay on your weight, but you've got bulky things, like when I went to Norway, I took jumpers. I mean, I've never packed jumpers before in my life, but it was freezing. And I took jumpers, big, thick, woolly jumpers and hats and scarves. So that took a lot of space. But I got some space-saving items. For one thing, I got some cubes, some packing cubes. And I have a video on packing cubes that you can look at. But packing cubes are a great idea. They do 2 things, really. Number 1, you can organise things better. So when you get to your cruise, you just take your packing cube out of your suitcase and slip it into your drawer, and everything's there for you. So that's one thing. But also, you can save a lot of space in your case. I've also got some things that are like Ziploc bags, and you've got a vacuum, a little pump. It's not actually a vacuum cleaner, although you can get some like that. But it's got a little pump that's YouTube powered, and you press a button and it sucks all the air out. So it squashes things into, I'm sure you've seen the adverts for things, like putting all your bedding in and slipping it under your bed, that kind of thing. Or you can do that for packing, and it really does work. Of course, it doesn't save weight. It does just save space. So depending on whether you want to save weight or space, you either look at carrying things less weighty, as we talked about, or you find ways to get things into a smaller space. My husband is great at packing. And one of the things that, and I'm not too bad, but I like to let him do it, but he always fills up all our shoes. So I roll a lot of things. I roll, all my underwear is rolled, my t-shirts are rolled, all my beach stuff is rolled, my pool stuff is rolled. So everything is rolled up because it keeps it neat and it fits into a small space. And you can shove a rolled thing into a shoe to pack it, and it fits nicely into the cubes. So packing cubes, very useful, very helpful to keep things in order, but also it saves you space because you put everything in very neatly and zip it all up, which kind of squashes it down anyway. And so it saves a lot of space and in your suitcase. But do stuff your shoes with stuff, because otherwise that space is wasted anyway, right? So use your shoes as places to put things and save space that way. Very quickly, another idea to save weight is, hey, buy light suitcases. I had to do that when I had my 28-night cruise with only 23 kilos of luggage. I just bought the lightest suitcases I could find. They weigh like 2 ounces or something, no, 2 kilo I think, but they were really, really light. I mean, guaranteed to be the lightest suitcases on the planet or something, and they were very useful to have. So that's another way of saving a bit of weight. So saving weight and then saving space. And the 5th tip is think about the essentials that you need. There are things that you have to have with you, and only you know what your essentials are, but make a list. I know not everybody is a list maker, but I advise you just a couple of weeks even before you cruise to start making a list. I just do a spreadsheet. I make a list of everything that I need to take with me, and I just add to that list as I think it. And so I have a long list of things that I know have to go, and as I add them to the pile that is for packing, then I highlight the space on my spreadsheet so I know it's done, because there's nothing worse than you get to your cruise and find you've left something really important behind. For me, if I did not take my chargers for my phone, my iPad, my watch, my AirPods, even my laptop, if I didn't take those with me, I would be, and my Kindle, oh my goodness, I would really be in a mess. So those for me are essentials. They're things which if you don't have with you, they're going to cost you money to buy them at port. Things like, you know, your medication, they're important. So think about essentials. There are some non-essential things that you might want to take, but think about it. I've got a video of things to do before you cruise. So on that, I'll be talking more about things that that you need to do and you need to prepare for your cruise. But my tip now is to make a list. My tip number 5 is make a list of everything you can't do without for your week or 2 weeks or whatever it is while you're cruising, because they're different for everybody. But my Fitbit, oh my goodness, if I didn't have my Fitbit charger, that would really mess me up, because although my Apple Watch does count steps, I prefer to use my Fitbit because the battery lasts longer, and I don't always wear my watch all the time. So yeah, so that's another thing. Those are just some essentials for me, but lists will help you do it. So 5 quick tips to help you just manage your cruise. If this has been useful to you, then I do appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up for a like. Love to hear tips from you. If you've got any tips, or let me know in the comments what your essentials are, what you couldn't do without on a cruise. It might be a chocolate bar, I don't know. Whatever it is you can't do without, just list it below, and hit the notification bell, and I will then you will know when I'm going to post another video. In the meantime, I'm Jan Obridge, I'm the Cruise Queen. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a brilliant day. Bye.